What is up, guys? I'm Neal Jolly and welcome inside Jolly Studios, where we talk about everything cameras to sneakers. And today we're talking about the Jordan 1 Retro High Light Smoke Gray. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the channel and checking out today's video. I'm so glad to see all of you guys here, and we've got a sneaker I'm super excited about and another light smoke gray colorway for the Jordan 1. As some of you might remember, we did review the Jordan 1 Mid Light Smoke Gray a couple weeks back, and this is a sneaker I absolutely love, a colorway I'm super fond of. And so if you did miss that review, I'll leave a link on screen at the end of this video for you to check this out. And also, if you were interested in picking up a pair of the Jordan 1 Mid Light Smoke Gray, I'll leave a link in the description box below to StockX for you to check these out. But now let's get into the review of the sneaker of this video, which is the Jordan 1 Retro High Light Smoke Gray. And let's start with the unboxing, moving into the in-depth review of the materials on this sneaker, giving you guys an on-foot look, and then finally my verdict on whether you should shoot, hold, or pass in your shot at these sneakers. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. Coming in a standard Jordan 1 High black and red Nike box with Nike swoosh branding on the top and sides of the shoe box. And resting inside gray paper, we've got the light smoke gray highs laced only on one of the bottom eyelets, and you'll find an additional set of flat white laces tagged onto the left foot of the sneaker in their own respective zip bag. These Jordan 1 Retro High Light Smoke Gray drew immediate comparisons to the Union LA collaboration when official images were released of this sneaker, and I personally don't have a pair of the Union LAs, but have been a fan of that pair. I absolutely love both colorways of that collab, and we will be touching on the comparisons between those unions and this sneaker a little later into the video. But I've got to say, having the sneaker in hand, I'm really impressed by the quality of the materials of this sneaker, and it is a really well executed colorway in its own respective way. And so let's get into the in-depth review of the materials, starting with the front to the back and from the top to the bottom. When it comes to the uppers on the sneaker, we've got a predominant mix of some quality light smoke gray suede paneling and some really nicely textured white leather throughout the sneaker. And of course, the accented red leather ankle paneling and some black suede as well, making for a high quality build. As we move along the toe, we've got that rich suede paneling in gray that looks and feels grainy in texture. And making our way into the toe box, we've got some lightly textured white leather with the standard 45 perforated holes, and it is pretty soft and forgiving on touch, and so these should break in quite nicely. Moving into the lacing system, we've got some flat black laces that come laced on the bottom eyelet of the sneaker out of box, and you can lace them weaving through 9 eyelets you will find on the sneaker. Behind the laces, we've got a nicely padded white canvas tongue with the standard lace loop built directly into the shoe tongue. And moving to the top of the tongue, we've got a black fabric tag with the Nike Air branding in red, and this is a welcome return for many. As you may recall, the last couple of Jordan 1 Retro High releases, like the Court Purples and the Royal Toes, for example, featured leather tags. Sliding over to the midfoot, we've got that same nicely textured white leather paneling that was used on the toe box, and then we've got the iconic one-piece black suede Nike swoosh that wraps around both the lateral and medial sides. And the grain on this suede looks and feels to be shorter and softer on touch than that of the smoke gray on this sneaker. As we move towards the ankle, we've got the standout red leather accented ankle paneling featuring the iconic Jordan Wings logo that is debossed in a glossy black finish. And behind that red leather, we've got a black suede ankle collar that is a little more rubbery in texture, but is nicely padded and quite forgiving, and so these should feel more comfortable on foot than the traditional leather collar you would normally find that would otherwise make for a stiffer ankle collar. Moving further down on the heel, we've got some more light smoke gray suede paneling that is identical in its quality as on the toe and the eyelets, and the grain of the suede is short and isn't the softest on touch, and so when rubbing against the flow of the grain, your finger markings or strokes are barely noticeable, and not nearly noticeable as, say, on the Flint 13s, for example, that had synthetic suede with a more softer and taller grain in a darker gray. Moving inside the sneaker, we've got a really nicely padded black sock liner around the ankles for some great support, and we've got a black insole with Nike air printed in red on the heel of the insole. Moving to the bottom of the sneaker, we've got a white rubber midsole that runs throughout the sneaker with the standard EVA wedge and non-visible air sole unit built in, and then we've got a black rubber outsole with the standard and iconic Jordan 1 High traction patterns. But now is my favorite part of the video, where I finally get to throw these sneakers on feet, style them, and give you guys a closer look. When it comes to sizing, the Jordan 1 highs, mids, and lows are all advised to fit true to size, and I'd agree. I normally pick up my standard size, which is a 9.5 US, and these fit comfortably on my feet. But for these light smoke grays, I was only able to get through on a size 10 on Foot Locker Canada on the day of the release, and so these are half a size up, and for me personally, I don't mind wearing half a size up for the Jordan 1s. I find that they are a little bit more roomy on my feet, but with some thicker socks or maybe even a thicker insole, these are just fine on my feet. But like I said, for you guys, I would advise to stick true to size if you can. Released on July 11th of 2020, this is a pair that retailed for 170 USD, and for us here in Canada, 225 Canadian. And this pair did sell out immediately on the day of its release, and so now is only available on the resale market. And if you are interested in checking out this pair, I've left a direct link in the description box below for you to check these out and potentially pick up a pair for yourself. But now is the part of the video where I make my case for whether you should shoot, hold, or pass on your shot at these sneakers, with shoot being picking these sneakers up at their current retail price, hold being potentially waiting for these sneakers to go on sale or another opportunity to pick these sneakers up, and pass being that these sneakers might not be for me or for you, but for somebody else. And when it comes to the Jordan 1 Retro High Light Smoke Gray, I say you shoot your shot. And looking at the materials, I really have no complaints with this sneaker. We've got some rich gray suede on the uppers. We've also got some really quality white textured leather, and on the toe box, which sometimes doesn't always get the same quality of leather on, say, the midfoot. In this case, you'll notice that these are the same material and quite forgiving, and so I am a fan that they did use the same materials on the toe as on the midfoot. And I'm also digging that black suede collar that should move a lot better with wear on your foot and not as stiff as, say, the traditional leather that we would get on the back of the collar. I'm also a fan of the shoe tag, as we have gone back to fabric tags. The black Nike swoosh is in a suede. I mean, overall, the materials are just really impressive, and I really have no complaints. I guess the only thing I would say is that I'm definitely going to be really careful when wearing the sneaker, especially as it pertains to the suede, as it does look like these could get dirty quite quickly if not taken care of. And maybe one more thing is that I definitely would have appreciated some red laces in box to do a lace swap on the sneaker, because the sneaker is overall very neutral, very monochromatic, and I do feel like some red laces might make this pair pop. On my Jordan 1 High Bloodlines, they did come with that white, black, and red lace option, and so they definitely could have thrown in some red laces, and that probably would have just been the cherry on the top of this sneaker release. But I actually have seen some yellow laces on this sneaker as well, which look absolutely fire, and so shout out to whoever first thought of throwing on some yellow laces, because they tie in perfectly with the union stitching that you will notice that Frankenstein Frankenstein yellow stitching on both Union sneakers. And so that is a perfect segue into the comparison between the Unions and the light smoke gray. And there definitely are similarities in terms of their colorway and the materials, as well as with the black toes, we've got a black Nike swoosh. And while they had a gray collar, these have a black collar, which are like the blue toes, which have some black suede as well as some red ankle paneling with the Jordan 1 Wings logo in black as well. And then on the black toes, we have some gray suede on the collar instead. And so on this pair, we've got some gray suede throughout the uppers. And so there definitely is a mashup of, say, both sneakers in one. Some inspiration drawn from the black toes, some inspiration drawn from the blue toes. But unlike the Unions with that Frankenstein yellow stitching that divides the ankle paneling from the rest of the midfoot, these really don't have that. And there isn't any breaking up between the materials as the eyelets continue with that light smoke gray paneling. And the shoe tongue, unlike the Unions where there's a white and black stitching that does partition the actual shoe tongue between white and black, these are just white throughout. And so there are differences between both sneakers, and these aren't quite as similar as some may think to the Unions. And so that is another reason why I say you do shoot your shot, because if you did miss out on those Unions and are a fan of that colorway, this isn't necessarily settling because you weren't able to get that pair. In fact, while these do clearly draw inspiration, these are a great sneaker in their colorway and their execution in their own respective way. And I'm really a big fan of this sneaker. And it is quite cliche to say, you know, that these sneakers are better in hand. And honestly, there are some sneakers that you do see online with images, and when you get them in hand, the colors look a little different, the materials aren't what they were to be suggested as. And with this sneaker, this is actually quite impressive because they lived up to the hype and actually far surpassed my thought on what the suede might feel like on hand, as well as the overall execution. And honestly, in thinking about it right now, I'm actually going to give these the best Jordan 1 retro high release of 2020, giving them the #1 spot and the #2 spot to the blue toes, a sneaker that we did review a couple months back. But yeah, I'm actually really a fan of these sneakers, and I'm gonna give these the #1 spot. But now I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. Is this the best Jordan 1 retro high release of 2020 so far, at least? And is this a pair that you will shoot, hold, or pass on? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'd love to connect with you guys there. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed today's review, and if you really liked it, I hope that you will subscribe and join the community here on this channel, because we've got a lot more sneaker videos that are on the way. But that's all for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, for your time and support of this channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.